Good morning, Rabbi Sai. See, your brother-in-law knows how to do and then he leaves. He did it. Davey, how you doing? So that voice from Miami Boys Choir. It's the real. Yeah, Miami Boys. By Eric Schwartz. Hope you are well. Nothing like walking into the shul in Aventura 30 minutes before minyan to learn the daf on my iPad with Rebelli, and the guy next to me has Rebelli up on the screen already. What an MDY family. Have a great Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Gabriel
Trower. Trower Ring.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Both? You're also? From where?
West Hempstead.
West Hempstead. There's a big island over there. Wow. Okay, welcome. Who else? Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Yudit Zeigler A from? Really? Yosef. All right, send them regards. Givaldik. With each volume of R Scroll Shas made available, those who are convinced to join the share, as I, an MDY participant, have been submitting my sponsorships towards a few copies of the Gemaras the past few volumes of Shas. What is the deadline to submit sponsorship for a few Gemaras prior to the printing of each upcoming volume? Thank you, Elio Neiman, Muncie, New York. I don't know when the deadline is. It's for sure a few, 2-3 weeks before. But it did remind me, since he sent this Matzah Shabbos Gedvach, the new volume of Art Scroll, I think it's the final volume, is basically in like 2-3 days. It's a good time to bring chaverim, remind people. You could always go. I think like to put your name in the front is like probably 3 weeks before it comes out, something like that. To sponsor, you could always sponsor to the last minute. You can sponsor after it comes out also. Rabbi say, if you're a little queasy, you might not want to see this picture. This is a picture of a Ben Pakua. Rebelli, I learned Daf Yomi in Hebrew. Since you started, I want to show you a picture of a Ben Pakua. And to thank my good friend Shimi Braun from Borough Park, Shmura Matzah, who set me up with the shir, Leibish Cut, Borough Park. I don't know what that is. It looks maybe to me it looked like a looked like a small, like a miniature cow. It could be a lamb. I don't know what it is. There's one on the floor also. Huh?
Now you want to sell it business to take off.
It doesn't look like that. Okay. Boys, I want to tell you 2 stories of chesed that have to do a little bit, some with the shir, some not so much with. Is there a shir over there between you two for Reb Mendy? It's over here.
Just move over, Chip.
Slide over here. No, here, push this chair all the way past that. Seder. Mendy, maybe come on time. Sometimes 7:10. Seder. No. We got some complaints. I'll show you later. Okay, so there's a famous woman, Danielle Renov. She has 103,000 followers on Instagram. Peas, love, and carrots. We're almost mishpacha because my daughter Aliza, here by Aliza Jacobs, does all her hair. So come out mishpacha. Never met her really, but we're like mishpacha. Anyway, she only uses the best. That's what I'm trying to say. Only the best. If you want to get good chicken in town, there's only one place, Benny's. Benny's, yeah. So she collects money every single week for people that are displaced from up north, south. And so she's talking about it and collecting money. So a woman walks into Benny's. Benny told me this, but then my wife heard this on Peas, Love, and Carrots. The woman walks in and says, Danielle collects money for the chicken. How much is it? I want to pay for a week. So he says $10,000. $10,000. Bam. She took out a check. Benny's. Danielle, chesed of the people in the neighborhood in Eretz Yisrael for those people. But I want to tell you another story. This one, a murderous story. There's a guy, Tzvika Gringlik. He hit a woman. He bashed her car in. So they made up that they're going to meet at the shop. He's going to pay for it. So let's come to the shop. And it was like Wednesday or something. Come on Wednesday. She gets there on Wednesday, and of course, guy doesn't show up. So she sends him a nasty text. She says, "It's not to say to what you did. This is what you do. We made up." So he writes back to her, he says, I'm sorry, it was my son's levaya. He got killed in Gaza. So she says, what? She says, I was at the levaya. I can't believe it. It's you? Yeah. So she comes to the Shiva, and he says, listen, I want to pay you for right after Shiva, I'll pay you. So he sends her like a bit over the phone. He sends her the money, and she says, I'm not accepting it. I can't accept from you. He says, no, I'm sending it to you. So then she sends it back to him. She says that when she went to the shop, and she told the guy, you know why the guy didn't show up? Because he was the father of a chayal. So the guy said, if so, I'm not taking money for it. He fixed her car, so he didn't take money. He didn't have to pay the money. Mikam Yisrael, we shouldn't hear from any more tzaras. Rabbi what? I did to the Americans? Oh, but I had the name. Okay, good. I don't know what I'm saying anymore because this is Israeli and this. I said it last night, but I had the green lick. That's the thing. Okay. We could take that story out. Givaldi. The coil of the month. Any more? Any guess? No? Okay, it's starting to fill up. Lot. The other things we're starting. There's going to be a big chiddush. Rabbi today is a beautiful daf, like a gadat almost. And we're going to start, it's going to be a record. We're going to start Be'ezer Hashem by 7:20. It's going to be unbelievable. Uncle Phil, you're going to be able to say, I was there at that cheer, that one time. The Koilo, sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood, Refuah, Tinuk B'Malka. The Masechta for the unity of Am Yisrael. The Paras HaChodesh. What's going on here? Explain to me why during the things. What?
He didn't say the story. He did not say it. He didn't say it. He did not say it.
I didn't say it?
100% not say it.
But maybe I said it to you. Maybe you saw it on the... Oh, you know what happened? You saw it on the WhatsApp group. We're in the same group. Mayor Kenning sent it. We'll see. We'll go back. Yosef, did I say it on Friday?
No.
Okay. For that you can speak. The Am Yisrael. The Paras HaChodesh.
No problem.
No, now you know how I feel when you get me good in learning in the middle of this year. A one-time thing. Yedidya Pereira, lezchut, ziווג bקרוב, ברכה bas מיכל, חיים ben שולמית, ושושנה ברכה bas שולמית. Paras HaChodesh. Rav Noam, Avi, Gary, Yosef for your relentless commitment to MDY. Paras HaChodesh, zechus ben Moshe, bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh. Ahron Fraiman, it should be zechus to rebellion for continued siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Thank you. Paras HaChodesh, Lili Nishmas, Kol Chayalei Tzahal, Green Lake, all those. Shenavlu HaKiddush Hashem. In memory of Binyomin Airley, another Chayal Tzahal, from Anonymous in Manchester, who joined this year at the beginning of siyadta. Paras HaChodesh, Shprintzy and Avrumie Gross, Lili Nishmas, the yard sites of our fathers. Where's the Alan here? He's here last night. Oh, here he is. Alan, Shalom Aleichem. Our father, Shlomo Zalman ben Yitzchak Isaac Zechroina Levracha, and Binyomin Isaac ben Tzvi Hirsch HaKoyin Zechroina Levracha. Paras HaYoim, Avrumie and Shprintzy Gross, in memory of the yahrzeit of our aunt, Yudit Zeigler A, Yudit Bas Shulmeit A. Paras HaYoim, Larry Pearl, Lilishmas Bendit Ben Yitzchak. Paras HaYoim, Moshe Zeigler, my mother, it's the yahrzeit, Yudit Bas Shulmeit Yudav Shvat, yahrzeit. The art of the month. Anonymous for the zechus, for an easy childbirth, for his daughter, and a healthy baby. Rabbi Isai, question. Don't cheat. What does this word mean? Oinoi. It's one of the Yedidya Shas. You know what? If anybody knows what it means, don't say. Raise your hand. We had it. It's one of the Yedidya Shas. All the guys on the shir last night. Great. Okay, here's another one. Does anybody know what this is? It should be larger. Shvus. Wendy, you know what this is? Anybody? Whoever knows what it means, raise your hand, please. Oh, okay. Whew. Shvus means Isser de Rabbanan on Shabbos. Isser de Rabbanan, the Rabbanan created an Isser on Shabbos, it's called Shvus. Oinoi is a star. Type of a star. Okay. Boys, here we go. Daf Pei Amud Aleph. Happens to be that this is a very special daf for Lubavitch. It's the only time in Shas that the word Chabad is mentioned with the Rosh Hashanah. Ches Beis Daled in all Shas. Shalu Talmid of Rebbe Gamliel. Mauligado, we're talking about bringing up small animals in Eretz Yisrael. Are you allowed to bring up Are you allowed to have a goat like our good friend? I'm not going to say his name, but he comes here every single day for Shacharis, almost every day. Big Talmud Chacham. Again, he had a goat walking around the neighborhood with a goat on a leash. Are you allowed to have a goat in Eretz Yisrael? Mutter. It's not a problem. But what do you do with our Mishnah? It says you're not allowed to have goats in Eretz Yisrael. Sheep, goat. Ella, and if you live in this neighborhood, you know the shepherds here in this neighborhood. When we moved in, well, I moved in way after everybody else, but even when I moved in here 10 years ago, there were sheep that used to come right through the back over here, and now they're on the 10. Only 3 minutes away, the sheep's all day long over there, people, and they're not owned by Jews, I don't think. They're more like Bedouin and whatever. So, is that mutter? Are you allowed to keep a sheep in your house and make sure it doesn't go out and graze and steal from other people? It's okay. As long as you're careful and you make sure that it doesn't go out and destroy other people's property. In other words, you tie it to your bed, make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Mentioned this on Friday. Shulchan Aruch paskins that this halacha of not bringing up animals in Eretz Yisrael is already batal. The question is, did it reapply? It's very hard to reinstate a halacha. The Shulchan Aruch was written in a time when there was not a lot of Jews, not a lot of fields. So he said, okay, but once he removed that halacha, the Chazon says it doesn't go back. It's not simple. You can't just have a few rabbanim or a few g'dolei ador say, new isur. There's no new isurim. You can't make new isurim. It's not a time of a Gemara. Yet the Gemara brings a story. There's a story with a chassid who's in severe pain, constantly in agony, screaming in pain, and he could barely breathe. So when the Gemara in Tmura brings this story, the Gemara actually in Bava Kama also talks about this. Anytime in Shas that says Ma'aseh b'chassid echad, it's either the famous Rabbi Yehuda from the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eli, or Rabbi Yehuda Bava. So one of the Rabbi Yehudas, it's not just Ma'aseh b'chassid echad, it's the Rabbi Yehuda, or so we know basically who it is. So again, we're not talking about stam, a person. We're talking about one of the G'dolei Hadar. V'shalu l'roifim, and they asked for the doctors. V'amru ein l'takana atchiyina k'chola v'ritech m'shachas l'shachris. He must drink hot milk. In other words, straight from the animal. It seems like every morning. V'yiviu lo yez v'kashru lo b'kar amida. They brought him a goat, and they tied the goat to the bedpost. V'yiyonik mimeno m'shachas l'shachris. Yoshi did a thing here. Now I'm assuming, I told Yoshi I don't like any pictures that have to do with Tanaim. Do not depict Tanaim. I'm assuming he didn't know about this this Gemara in Tmura, that we know who it is. I just thought it's a... So here's the picture. Now there's a few mistakes here. It happens to be that goats, even female goats, have beards. Maybe not that long, but that's not how Rabbi Yehuda looked, and whatever. I wouldn't do this picture. We'll just say this is Stam, not Rabbi Yehuda. So his friends came to visit him. They heard he's sick. They noticed the goat. They went out. They left. List of mezuyim beveisis shazeh. A list of mezuyim. There's a list of mezuyim. Robbery, hold up robbery. In other words, these goats go out and steal. They eat other people's produce. Beveisis shazeh. We go in there. Now, the Mashal on the spot says that obviously it wasn't pikuach nefesh, because if it's pikuach nefesh, you're allowed to break it. So we're talking about not a pikuach nefesh. And somebody of Rabbi Yehuda's stature should have been more makbid on this D'Rabbanan, even though there's ways to be matter, but at the end of the day, people look up to him and they would think that this Isser of Bimigadol, in those days at least, not in our days where the Shulchan Aruch took it off, those days there was an Isser and he should have been more makbid. The famous story, where if we pay attention to the story, it could help us out, but it's a very famous story, where a guy, he came to the Rebbe and complained that his house is way too small with all the kids that he has. So the Rebbe said, buy a goat, bring it into your house. And so he did. And when he got rid of the goat, he realized how much space he really has. Now because I had a little four-legged creature in my house for my son, once we got rid of him, the amount of, I'm not saying the space, but the amount of headspace, maybe. The quiet, the Yishuv Das. Mamash, like, wow, what a bracha. Everybody here that doesn't have a dog, Donnie, you know what I'm talking about.
We got rid of ours, actually.
You did? Also you? I can't believe it. Whose idea was that?
Not mine.
But it's it feels good? No, seriously, I'm saying this, L'Tayal Sarabim, there's a lot, this is a neighborhood probably with the most from people, with the most dogs of from people. There's a guy that walks his dog with his hat and jacket every day. Hat and jacket, mamish. So if you're thinking about it because your kids are driving you crazy, think 500 times. Unless it's like me, I also thought 500 times. The Rosh Yeshiva basically forced me. He said, you have to. Your kid needs it. It's pikuach nefesh. Okay. It wasn't true either. It was a nice try. So whatever. So once this animal leaves, all of a sudden you have a lot more menuchas hanefesh and room in the house. Yashvu batku v'lei matzu boy. Says the Gemara, for some reason I saw they speak about it. Why would they even check? Why is it their business to check? But anyways, they checked Rabbi Yehuda and they saw that Rabbi Yehuda is clean. He has nothing on his account. The only problem he ever had, the only aveira maybe that he had was that he had a goat in his house. Even Rabbi Yehuda when he was doing vidui on his deathbed, Omar, he said, can you imagine? He was sick, and the doctor said, this is what you need for your disease. And he knew that it's a little bit of a problem, and he tied it to his bed. It shouldn't be a problem. The whole problem is that it's going to steal, and Yishuv Yisrael. That was the only aver he had. I was over in my friend's words. Says Rabbi Shmuel, my father's family, Talmid Chacham and Balabatim and Gol. Why were they destroyed completely? They let their sheep graze in the forest. And they would do din Torah with one dayan. Now, one dayan that's a mumcha is okay, but until you get to that level, until that stature, it's not okay. We had over here, I mentioned him often because it was a big zechus for me to even see him. Obviously, after he was nifter, I felt bad that I didn't get to know him a lot more. Rabbi Milinowitz, his name is featured in almost every single art scroll Gemara. He was the head editor. Huge Talmud Chacham, Anvison, a big guy. You'd see him standing for a bus going to Yerushalayim with his short jacket and a down hat, crumpled, and just that big Talmud Chacham. And he said that he tried to do a bezdin of Yachid. He himself would, whoever wanted to, he would hear cases quick, in, out, instead of a whole. And he said that his first case was an almana against some people, and he had a rule against the almana, and she broke down crying. And he realized, wait a minute, if there was 3 dayanim, so it's not really me. It's us 3, it's not our fault. But it was him against this almana, and he felt very uncomfortable. Then he made an almana cry, and she would have a tain against him. He said, this is a simon shamayim that I'm not supposed to be doing. He shut it down on the spot. So the reason why they were destroyed is because they used to allow their animals to graze in the forest. But we said yesterday that it's okay to graze in the forest. We'll see tomorrow also, Takanas of Yeshua. These fires were close by. It's sometimes the very small things, the insignificant thing. We think it's insignificant because we're going to the big forest and they're going to graze there. So my sheep have to go by 2 feet of my neighbor's backyard. It's not the end of the world. They're going to get no. Those 2 feet is what counts. You have to be careful for every little thing. And in those 2 feet, whether the Shailan Rishonim, they owned it, or let's say the other guy owned it, it's a problem because they grazed for 2 seconds in somebody else's field. That's obviously gneva gezel as well. Tana Rabbana, Roya Shasa Tshuva, beautiful thing. A guy decides to do tshuva. So when he does tshuva, we're not going to be tough with him. We're going to say, oh, you did tshuva, sell all your animals today. Because if you sell everything today, a fire sale, you lose a lot. Ella moicher al yad yad, you sell normally. When people come and buy, you sell. Why? Because the Torah cares about people. And the Torah you want to do tshuva, we're going to help you out. We're not going to be mean and make you sell everything and have a loss. A ger, convert, his parents have animals that are also for a Jew to be megadol, like pigs and dangerous dogs, and he gets it in inheritance. Now it doesn't have to be only a ger; it could be anybody that inherited something that's illegal, whatever paraphernalia, whatever it is. You have the right to get rid of it in a normal manner. You don't have to dump it all that minute, that second. And he does it slowly. Somebody makes a neder. We could understand this. In America, the guy, there's a day of anti-Semitism, there's a big parade, and the guy says, I'm moving to Israel today. It happens all the time, right? People say things. I'm going to move. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna go run to Eretz Yisrael and get a shidduch. Likach isha be'Eretz Yisrael. Emechayv enoy se likach miyad ad shimsas haygenes loy. You take it easy. Speak to the nefesh b'nefesh and make aliyah like a mensch, like a regular, whatever. It takes a year to move. Sometimes some people takes a week. Huh? How long did it take you to make aliyah? Who? I don't know what that is. Oh. In what language is that? It takes a few months just to get the notary. And it takes a few months to figure out where you're going to live. And it takes this, takes some time. Anyway, so we don't make you leave that day. They say this is a true story. In Switzerland, the guy sees a guest. So he walks over to him and says, what are you doing here? Nacha, I saw you last year. I saw you the year before. What are you doing here? He says, I'm here to trouble having children. So the guy said, like, not such a nice thing. He said, listen, how long have you been trying? He says, a long, long time. 20, 30, I don't know. So the guy says, come on. No. There comes a point where you just say, okay, you have to make up with the situation. You're going to come with every year, you're going to spend all tens of thousands of dollars. The guy says, the Rebbeinu Shalom is in charge. So, and his wife was there, and his wife said something, I don't know the whole conversation. Basically, he tells his wife, and he tells in front of this guy, he says, listen, if you'll have a child, I'm shutting down my whole business here, and I'm moving to Israel and learning Koil all day. Like, it's impossible for this to happen. So sure enough, the guy 9 months and a day later, whatever it was, a year later, the guy calls him up, oh, Shalom Aleichem, I have bad news for you, good news, I had a child. So the guy goes. Now this guy was a rookie. What's the last gadol in the world you want to go ask the Shaila? Rav Chaim Kanievsky. The last gadol in the world. Because even if, I don't know what, no, you have to live in Eretz Yisrael. He's never said to anybody, don't leave. I could make the entire America come back b'tshuva and I'll be the biggest. You're staying in Eretz Yisrael. So anyways, he goes to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. What should I do? I made a neder. So Rav Chaim Kanievsky said, listen, look what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave this guy a kid after 30 years so that you should move to Eretz Yisrael and shut down your business. Okay.
What did he do?
Yeah, of course. He became a Rosh Yeshiva. 2 months later, he became a Rosh Yeshiva. What did he do? He closed his shop and he went to Eretz Yisrael. He listened. Not like those bums that went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He says, where's your beard? And they said, not those guys. He listened. Says the Gemara, Umayso bi'isha achas. This is a story. Show you b'no meitzar law. In the time of the Gemara, when your son caused you a lot of aggravation, it was a mice in the Gemara. It's not a mice shebchol yom. Umayso shebisha achas show you b'no meitzar law. There's a story. An almana, a grusha, her son made her crazy. V'kavtza v'nishba kol mishi yavai eini machzirasai. I need to get married today. Anybody that shows up here, I'm marrying him. Anybody. And a bunch of people that weren't a good shidduch, they showed up. There's a crazy story. We have to verify the story. Ma'aser Shahaya with the Bach. Find out if it's true today we'll look into it. But meanwhile, for the story, it's a great story. The Bach was having real trouble with his daughter's shidduchim, and he said, the next guy that shows up is marrying my daughter. Next guy, I'm not going to make a big deal. That's it. Sure enough, a loser guy shows up. A real, what they call an Amaritz. Amaritz, the Raisa. Shows up, and the Bach says, I made a neder. So they get married. This Amaritz is sitting in the Bach by the oven, sleeping late, just enjoying himself by the warm fire. The Bach was writing Shabbos HaGadol drasha, and he stepped out. And the chassan takes a look at his ksavim, whatever, and he runs to the bookshelf, pulls out a Gemara, opens up to a certain place, and puts it down by the Bach's table, and goes back to the fire. The Bach shows up, he sees the Gemara open, he's like, what's going on? Looks around, he looks in the Gemara, he says, whoa, it's a big problem. This is mamish a steer to my drasha. So he doesn't know what to do. Later on, he goes to the restroom again, and he goes back to the shelf, he pulls out another Gemara, opens it up. The Bach comes back, he says, mamish, mina shamayim, malachim, things, mamish, moifsim, a kasha, a teretz. And by the Shabbos HaGadol drasha, he tells the Olam, he says, you're not going to believe it, I had a big kasha over here that was brought down min hashamayim, and then even a teretz min hashamayim, I want to tell you, he shares with the Olam the whole thing. And after the drasha, the minute was to come to the house and get cake from the Rav. You understood the drasha. So the son-in-law stands in line with everybody, he comes to get cake. So the Bach says, listen, this is for people that understood. He says, the Shver, who do you think put the Gemaras there for you? And it turned out that this son-in-law was the Taz. This is the Taz. He was a big Anav, a Nistar, and he didn't want anybody to know about his learning. And the neder of the Bach worked. Why he decided then to tell his father-in-law, what was the joke?
He took his father-in-law to Beis Din.
Right. I said the story. He's the one that took his father-in-law to Beis Din, right, about the meat. So that's why I was thinking when I heard the story, thank you for reminding me, that maybe the Bach didn't know who he was at that point. And he was giving him this meat and he didn't want to tell his father, you're hurting my learning. He didn't tell him, maybe that's why he took him to Beis Din. I don't know. Anyway, he explained later why I took him to Beis Din, but I'm saying maybe it has to do with this story. Again, we're being nice to these people that are trying to do tshuva, people that said a word. She said, I'm going to marry the first person. She didn't mean a loser, a terrible guy, somebody that's going to be worse. She's going to be worse off than before. She meant a normal guy, the first normal guy. Like the daughter running out of the house. The first thing that comes out of the house is for carbon, and his daughter comes out. Yiftach. Says the Gemara, just like you cannot bring up a small goat and a sheep, you can't bring up a small chaya, like a deer, like a fox. You're allowed to bring up, you hear Donnie, this is good for you. There's no isser to bring up a smaller dog, according to one pshat in Rashi. Or what's the problem with the dog? The pshat is that a dog could cause a woman to lose her pregnancy, especially a frum woman. Yeah? Like I said before, there's no person in the world that's more afraid of dogs than a Jewish woman. Yeah, I didn't do the research, but
That story you told us.
not to the Americans. Oh yeah? Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna stop the Hebrew shir. or the English. Okay, so keep them both. Fine. It shouldn't be a kishgog hayotzim fi. It's like chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. V'chatulim. You're allowed to bring up a cat. So we're going to see in the Gemara it's not so posh to have a cat. V'koifim. You're allowed to have a monkey. V'chuldois snoim. And here we have a picture of a chulda, but it's not really a chulda sneh, but it means a bush weasel, whatever that is. Some people say it's these guys, more like a squirrel, a martin, a mongoose. Okay. You're allowed to have these. Why? They catch mice in the house. My chulda snoim. This is a sheretz that digs. So it happens to be that chulda is one of the shratzim. It's a sheretz that stings. The ktini shakya, it has very thin legs, and it eats by the bushes. And why is it called a sheretz? The mitatoi shakya has very short feet, like a sheretz. It's close to the ground. Sheretz hasheretz alaretz. It's close to the ground. Zog the Gemara. Rabbi Yudam Osinu atzmeinu bebavel keretz Yisrael behemadaku. We, says Rav, or Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rav, we that live in Bavel in Iran, we were makbid not to bring up and to be megadol behemadaku, not to have sheep and goats. Why? Again, it's the same idea. If there's a lot of Jews, then they're obviously going to end up stealing from the Jew. No, what? Iraq. Yes, Iraq. Yeah.
Persians like that.
Iraq is Bava? I don't know. I knew it yesterday. Today I don't know anymore. Oh, so you asked him, what about you? How come you have a goat in your house? Chayva. My wife Chayva. Now, my Gemara says chuba. I'm making a macha. It's Chayva. The article says Chayva, but the Oizvahadar says chuba. They didn't like Chayva. What's Chayva? Chayva is a chayv. It's like a bad thing. I don't know why, but that's how we said it in yeshiva. We're continuing with that. It's enough that they call it a kai and they call it shimi barashi. It's enough that they mess me up over there. I'm not letting them mess me up here with chuba. No way. Chayva. But no, I said we go with the art scroll. The art scroll did the research is chayva. So he says, I have a goat. You know why? Because my wife chayva takes care of the goat. Amalei chayva tikberena livna. Your wife chayva, she should bury all her sons. Now it's a terrible thing to say. We understand it as kishgogash ayotzim pia shalat, that it was a slip of his tongue, and he didn't mean it like that. He meant to say, if she's watching a goat, how is she going to watch her kids? They're going to run to the street, get hit by a car. Doesn't she have to? Isn't she a mother? She's watching her kids. She's watching this goat instead of the kids. Then it's going to cause death to her kids. Says Gemara, Kula Shneider Avada Rahavalo Yikaim Zarel Rav Huna Mechayva. He didn't have kids from her. All her kids died. All his kids died. Tai says perhaps he could say it as a lashon, like a question. He says this is the identical Gemara. Another famous Gemara with Chayva, that she gave her kid a haircut the wrong way. She used to take off the payas, and he said the same lashon. Over there, you can't say, "Oh, is she not watching the kids?" That was more of a curse. Okay, I'll call upon him. The Gemara is saying Rav had a whole situation where he had to go to Bavel. I forgot who exactly insulted someone, and he asked Mechila. And he did something, and I forgot to look it up again. But basically, he kept on asking this person Mechila a big Amayra, and he wouldn't be Michael. To the point where he had to leave and go to Bavel. And the Gemara explains why wasn't he Michael? Because that person dreamt that he's going to be a Rosh Shiva and Rav is going to be a Rosh Shiva. So he understood that if he's going to be the Rosh Shiva first and then Rav, that means he's going to die very soon. So he figured, if I'm not Michael, Rav will get out of here. He'll go to Bavel, and he'll be a Rosh Shiva over there, and he could live. Not Stam, he didn't want to be Moichel. Okay. So Rav started off, what do you see? Rav started off in Eretz Yisrael. He learned by Rebbe. Then he went to Bavel, and he opened up a massive yeshiva in Bavel, competition to Shmuel. And his grew tremendously. There's so many Jews, the whole community grew and grew, like a good yeshiva, like in Passaic, in Lakewood, whatever. The community grew. There's so many people there that now you cannot bring up a behema daka. There's going to be a problem of gezel and everything else. Says Gemara, Rav Shmuel, Rav Asi iklu lebei Shavua ben. The three of them, Rav, Shmuel, and Rav Asi, went to a bris. Shavua ben, that's how they called it. Shavua ben, the week of the sun. V'amri la lebei Yeshua ben. So this is a shayla. What this is? It might be a pidyon ben. Yeshua, like to be paida. It might be a shalom zachar. Some say it's a shalom zachar. Some say it's the vachnacht. It's the night before. Brit Yitzchak. Yeah? That's what they call it? Sfardim. Now we have to know like this. Rav is the Gal Hadar. Said this many times, because Rav and Shmuel argue all the time. But Rav was much greater than Shmuel. But Rav gave a lot of, again, Rav got into trouble. Because once Rav was very sick, he had a stomach ailment, Shmuel was a doctor, Shmuel gave him some sort of medicine without telling him, and it made Rav, it destroyed his stomach or something, and Rav was very upset, and he cursed the person that gave him the medicine, not realizing it was Shmuel trying to help him, and basically he said, you're not going to have any sons, and Kacha, he never had a son. Shmuel never had a son. So in order to make up for that, he always used to give Shmuel covet, even though Rav was greater. So it's a riddle. The Gemara tells us a riddle. The three of them, how is it possible? Three people walk into a room, and Rav is the Galadar, Shmuel is the smallest out of the three, and Ravasi is the Talmud of Rav. So Ravasi certainly has to give covet to Rav, and Ravasi is greater than Shmuel. The problem is Rav has to give covet to Shmuel. So who goes in first now? The smallest has to go in first because Rav, who's the Gadol Adar, wants to give him the covet. But he's still smaller than Ravasi. So what do? Rav lo yal kamei de Shmuel. Rav wouldn't go in front of Shmuel to give him that covet, that honor. Sponsored by Greg Haber for the success and safe return of our chaylim and hostages for the zechus for Klal Yisroel. Shmuel lo yal kamei de Ravasi, and Shmuel cannot go in front of Ravasi. He's not as big as him. Ravasi lo yal kamei de Rav, and Ravasi certainly cannot go in front of his Rebbe. Amri man nisrach, who's going to stay behind? One person will stay behind and let two go in, one before the other of those two. Not Shmuel. Let's say Shmuel stays behind. Venei see Rav v'Ravasi. Okay, so let Shmuel stay behind. He's the smallest, anyways. And then Rav and Ravasi will go in. Who's going to go in first? Obviously the Rebbe, Rav, and then Ravasi. As the Gemara v'Nidrach Rav or Ravasi. Let Rav stay behind. Why Dafka Shmuel or Ravasi? So the Gemara can't be. Rav milsa ba'almu David le Shmuel. Rav was greater than Shmuel. Just there's a side story that you have to know about. There's a story, because of that story, Delati cursed Shmuel. So he made Shmuel bigger than him in going into place and giving him the covenant. But it's not like Rav should be waiting outside. That you can't do. A cat came. It cut off the hand of this child. So I got to show you this video here. I don't have to, but if you want. I took this video. We showed up in our house in Chicago, and we weren't told about this. This is my bchar. Baruch Hashem, he's doing tremendous. He gets up every day. Vasikin these days. He has chavrusas. He's learning. Baruch Hashem. But he's just a wild, and he decided to buy this cat that costs a few $1,000s. Today, I'm not exaggerating, it's like this big. It's double the length and size and weight of a regular cat. This is when he was a baby. A wild animal. You come into the house. Imagine, show up. We haven't been in our house in a few months. Show up to our house in Chicago, open up the front door. He doesn't tell us. Shalom Aleichem, this cat attacks us, literally. And he had claws that ripped my leg, ripped my shirt open in excitement. Like, what's going on? Shalom Aleichem. So I took a video then and there, and I'll explain to you the next part of the story. Here he is, on our countertops, jumping from countertop to countertop, doing his thing. My wife is going crazy. This crazy cat is in our kitchen, and you can't do anything about it. So we go to sleep. I'm fast forwarding 2 hours. We are jet lagged. We're going to sleep. It's a beautiful cat, Lamaisa, whatever. Okay, it's the Savannah cat. It's a whole thing. So we go to sleep. And in the middle of the night, I said this Maisa, but you have to understand this. In the middle of the night, my 15-year-old son comes in screaming into our room. We're sleeping, we don't know where we are. We're in Eretz Yisrael, we're here, we're jet lagged, Meshuggah. What? He says this cat attacked him and ripped his leg, and he shows me his leg. He has a cut right down his leg. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll take care of it. Go into your room, close the door, take care of it. So he goes into his room. He was not happy with me, but I didn't know where I was, and I just shoot him off. He goes into his room, shuts the lights, closes the door, gets into his bed, and he feels something snugly under his blanket. Maisa Shahaya. The cat snuck into his room, under his blanket. The pacha that he had, he finally is getting away from him, and he closed the door. The cat was in there. Anyway, so this cat, now you can understand. We're talking about a vicious cat. He chopped off a baby's hand. A cat. Happens to be that Chasidim, I'm not going to go into the whole Maisa, but the Chasidim say over the night before Bris, this story about the Baal Shem Tov, the Kitz and Nimrod, that the Baal Shem Tov was at a Vachnacht, the night before the Bris. The father complained that all his kids died right before the Bris. Baal Shem Tov said, I'll send my Talmidim here. They sat there in the middle of the night. A cat flies down from the ceiling into the sack, because he told them to put a sack. There's mamish, a cat in the sack. They tied the sack, they brought it outside, they beat the cat up. There was a priest, if you're Hasidus, you know what I'm talking about. It was Kishuf, the priest sent the cat was really through Kishuf. Oh, Maisa. Okay. There's cats that cut off kids' hands. Nova Gravidorash. So because of that, Rav went out and made a speech. There's a shayla if it's right after that or whatever. Okay. Chatul mutar laharga. You're allowed to kill a cat. Vasal l'kam, you're not allowed to have a cat in your house. Ve'ein by mishum gezel, if you kill somebody else's $5,000 cat, no problem. Ve'ein by mishum hashiv aveda b'adam. You find the $5,000 cat, you don't have to do hashavas aveda. Says the Gemara, "V'kivin amris mutar laharga." If you're allowed to kill it, my new too also l'kaimoy. So of course you're allowed to kill it, so it should be in your house. Mal the same mutar laharga. I'll think, oh, you're allowed to kill it. Isur leka, but you're allowed to have a cat in your house. Kamashon, you should not bring up a cat. Amri v'chivin amris saying by mishum gezel. If there's no stealing, you're allowed to kill it. My new su ain't by mishum available. So what's the chiddush? You don't have to return. You're allowed to take it and kill it. So certainly you don't have to give it back. Omar avinu la'oray. You see it as pretty decent looking. Over here, you see a cat in the street run over. You look the other way. In those days, they would chop it and make a glove out of it. I don't know what. It was worth something. So even though it's dead, and a dead cat can't cause any damage, you don't have to give back the hide. You're allowed to bring up a small dog, or even a hunting dog that doesn't damage, doesn't bark, a little monkey, a weasel. My son sent me a beautiful video. I was very excited to see this. I told my wife, you want to go back to Chicago? Look at this video. You seen the video of this cat. This cat caught a mouse in our house. Caught a mouse. So my son took a whole video. The cat let it go. And then it pounced and it caught it again. Like 3-4 times in a row. Lets it go, catches it. And then the mouse went underneath the door. And that was it. So I said, you sure you want to go back to Chicago? There's a stick of mouse in the house. Anyway, so that's what they do. Cats catch the mice. Cats, chuldois. These are things. It's good. Loi kashya. Says the Gemara, you think it's the opposite. But no, check this out. The white cat is bad. The black cat is good. So, as the Gemara, but we know for a fact, we know what the story was. The cat that ripped off the arm of the kid was a black cat. No. It was a black cat, the son of a white cat. So white is bad, black is good. It was the son of a bad one. So Mela, it had bad genes in it. As says the Gemara, Ravina had a question. That was exactly the shaila. If you have a black cat, the son of a white cat, is it bad genes or it's the color that causes it? So black is great. Ravina's shaila was a black cat had a white cat that had a black cat. So now, is the black good, or because there's white in there, is it bad? But maybe the white was just like some messed up gene. So you don't have to, it's a nidma. Oh, it's a nidma cat. Great. Says Gemara, Meister Rav. Bu'ukma bar chivra hava. It's the black, the son of white and white. Okay. Says the Gemara, Chabad, Biach, Bachan, Simon. Now, in my Gemara again, they messed up. They said Cheved. They tried to take away. Now, it wasn't a Litvak, because Oizvad is by Hasidim. It's not like, the Talmud of Rav Shach decided it's not Chabad, it's Cheved. But it happens to be that it's wrong. Why? Because if this is what we did, just to explain what Chabad means. These are the sons of Rav Papa that we say in the Siyum. Abba bar Papa. So the first one is Acha, Abba, Ada. The second one is Abba, Chia, Acha. Abba, Acha. So you take the second letter in every name. The second letter of Acha is Ches, and it's Acha. So it's Cha, Chabad, whatever, but not Che. It's more like Chabad. You got it? He got it. Okay, Rabbi said you got it. Okay. Abba, Chabad. Abba, it's Chabad. Great. So now let's see. Basically, it's a shaila. This is one of the most confusing names things in the world. It's 3 sons of Rav Papa 3 times. Did this son hear from this son that heard from that son? Or it's this son that heard from this son from that son? Or brothers. These are 3 brothers. So how do you remember it? How can you pass? You need a siman. Chabad, Biach, Bachan. Once you have that, it's easy to remember. Omar Rabbi Acha bar Papa. Mishum Rabbi Abba bar Papa, Mishum Rabbi Ada bar Papa. That's one way to say it. V'amri lo, and some say no, it's not that way. Omar Rabbi Abba bar Papa, Mishum Rabbi bar Papa, Mishum Rabbi Acha bar Papa. By the way, I did not look into this, but I did not find Chia in the sons of Rav Papa. So maybe he's part of it, or I just don't know. Acha is Achai. Okay, it says Achai bar Papa, not Acha, but so you could say it's Achai. But what's Chia? I don't know. I'm probably making a silly mistake because if Rav Papa had 11 sons, then it ruins all the shtiklach Torah that they say at the Siyumim, that there's 10 times in Shas that Rav Papa made shalom between people. Okay. Mishum Rav Acha bar Papa. V'amri lo, Omer Rav Abba bar Papa, Mishum Rav Acha bar Papa, Mishum Rav Chanina bar Papa. Oh, so what's all this? 4 lines of names. Matriyin ala chikuch b'Shabbos. So it says Rashi, you allowed to scream berabim. The whole tzibur gets together. There's like chicken pox going around, whatever you want to call it. Worse, boils. Mamish, terrible stuff that everybody's itching. And you blow the shofar even on Shabbos, b'Shabbos. Says Tosfos, it can't be Shabbos, it can't be Trua. It's not even talking about that, but that's what Rashi says. You blow the shofar. Videlas, ananelas, and a closed door, a locked door, you won't open it up. In other words, if somebody was about to get smichas, the Gemara is going to say something like that, and it didn't go well for him, it's going to take a while until it goes well. So says Rashi, you have to see this Rashi inside. So what if it's loibe meher tepatach? What happens? Loibe meher tepatach won't open quickly. You should go out there and daven your heart out. That's the only way. If the door's closed, there is one way out of it. Daven. You're allowed to write a star even on Shabbos if you want to buy a house in Eretz Yisrael. So literally, what, you're allowed to write a star on Shabbos? Chas v'shalom. Meisvei u'shar puroniyos ha'misrakshis u'bois al tzibur. Terrible things that happened to the whole klal. You go, don't leave now because they're going to write a star on Shabbos. No, you won't write a star on Shabbos. You'll look at the rest. Okay. Loi hoyu. Here, what are the things? Kigoin chikuch. Here, chikuch. That's what we're talking about. Boils. And what does it say about boils? It doesn't say you should blow a shofar and bring the whole tzibur together on Shabbos. Chagav. Parshas Shavua. Chagav. Tzira, a bunch of wasps. V'yatush. Oh, zvuv. Zvuv is terrible. Yeah, zvuv. How can you forget about the zvuv? Zvuv, the biting ones especially. Tzira, wasps. V'yatush. And the mosquitoes that we had in Chicago, New York, with the West Nile's virus, terrible stuff. It's a big tzara for Klal Yisroel. V'shuluach nechoshem akrabim, and snakes and scorpions. Lohoyu matriin ella tzoyakim. It says mefurish, no hasra, no shofar, no tzibur, ella tzoyakim. What's tzoyakim? Biyochid, biychidus. Loikasha. Kam belach, kam biyavish. When it's dry, it's much more painful. Then you can do it with tzibur and with the shofar. Omer Yeshua ben Levi. Shchin shei v'akadosh baruch hu ala Mitzrayim. That's last week's parasha. Lach mebachutz v'yavish mebifnim. It was moist on the outside, dry on the inside, and that's the problem. That was dry. Shenemar v'yishchina babuos pareach b'adam b'behema. V'delas hanenes lo b'meir tepatach. You have a door that's locked; it won't open quickly. Mahi marzut roma smicha. So if somebody tried to get smicha and it didn't go well, it failed the first time, it's going to be a problem to get him smicha. Rav Ashi Omar, Kol Amarim Loi, Loi B'Meir Mitim Loi. Kol Amarim Loi, if they make it bad for him, it's not going to be good very quickly. Rav Achim Edifta Omar, Lo Oilam Emitim Loi. It'll never be good. So Tosfos brings the story in Bava Basra, Daf Yomi Beis. He says that over there, Rav Achim Edifta wanted to become the Rishiva. They wanted to make him the Rishiva. They were about to make him the Rishiva, and suddenly, I think it was Rav Ashi who showed up, and they made him the Rosh Yeshiva. So, says the Gemara, why is this Chabad still there? That could come off. Okay. What's so funny? It just didn't. It's not part of the sugya. So Rav Achim Edifta said over there he says, I see if it didn't go well for me, I didn't become the Rosh Yeshiva, it's not going to be so quick. He doesn't say it's not going to happen forever. It's not going to be so quick, he says, like the first lashon. Loi b'meheira metivim loi. Over there, when the story happened. So why over here does he say, La'olam metivim loi? Says Tosfos, because it's many years later. When he realized it's never going to happen, he said it's never going to happen. Over there, it was right after, he said, you know what? I'll wait a little bit. It's not going to be great. Over here, it says in our sugya, once he got to Baba Kama in Meruba, it's loy l'memetivim loy. But says the Gemara, don't pay attention to Rav Achar Medifta. Rav Achar Medifta milsa d'nafshehu d'amar. He was talking about a personal experience that that happened to him. Doesn't mean that everybody in the world that has something bad, it's never going to be good. If you try to purchase a house, right, like that organization that purchases houses from our cousins for crazy prices, even on Shabbos you're allowed to write. But Shabbos you're allowed to write a document on Shabbos. Like they do in the hospitals, or they used to do in the hospitals in Israel. You have a Jewish doctor walking around with someone that's not Jewish, and they write the notes for you. You tell the non-Jew to write the document on Shabbos. We have to remember this word, shvus. Shvus means the issa de rabbanon on Shabbos. You're not allowed to tell a guy to write on Shabbos. Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, like Gazer Rabbanon. This is one of the most important mitzvahs. Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, living in Eretz Yisrael. So for that, like Gazer Rabbanon. Omer Shmuel ben Achmeni, Omer Yonason Alikech Ir Eretz Yisrael. Like the guy, the famous Maaseh, like saying over the Frum Yid that bought in those days, you gave a person money, and as far as you walked in all directions, that's the part. So he walked the entire Shabbos, and he didn't drink, didn't eat, so that he could walk more, and he bought Petach Tikva from this Arab. So if you buy Petach Tikva from somebody, you have to make sure they have access from all directions. Why? Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, so that people can get in there and populate Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shir Lamalois, Soinai Elohim Ayin Yoboy Ezri, Ezri Mimadinoi Say Shemayim Voretz, Al Yitein Lamojag Lecho, Al Yonim Shem Recho. Hinei lo yunum lo yishon shimer Yisrael. Adinoi shimrecho, Adinoi tzilcho, Yadi minecho. Yoreh Hashemesh lo yakekov, Yoreh baloilo. Adinoi shmocho mikoro, Yishmor es nafshecho. Adinoi shmor tzischo v'yecho, me'atov v'yadilo. Achein kobes Yisrael, Anatzunim b'tzor v'shivyo. Hoim de b'mei yomim b'mei yabashom ha'gerachim leim, Sim Yisrael l'rvoch ma'afel l'or, Mishivyo l'gula. Hashto, Bagalos ba'akoriv. Binyomin Airley.